estas cosas. Yo soy Rebeca Tineo, conmigo hablaron en algún momento para inscribirse. Y quería que me vieran la cara antes de apagar la cámara. Pero bueno, quería presentar como la dinámica más o menos de estas reuniones. Vamos a tener, como saben, 2 reuniones en inglés, comenzando hoy. Así que la idea es que sea, o sea, le dijimos al panelista, a Matías, que él podía presentar todo en inglés. De parte de ustedes está, si me dicen si necesitan algún tipo de traducción, voy a estar por el chat. O sea, si es algo corto, puedo explicarles uno a uno por el chat cualquier cosa. O también pueden levantar la mano y yo interrumpiría corto para poder traducir en donde haya fallas. También para cuando haya interacción de preguntas y respuestas, voy a estar obviamente ahí para poder traducir lo que ustedes quieran decir en español a Matías en inglés, por si les da miedo escénico hablar inglés. Todos tenemos ese problema. Quería decirles alguna otra cosa, que me di cuenta que cometí un error. Siempre hay un error en la Matrix. Las reuniones de la tarde empezamos obviamente a las 5, o sea, hacer las pruebas de sonido con los panelistas. Ustedes pueden estar unos 15 minutos antes, cualquier problema, y empezamos a las 5:30. No empezamos a las 4, no se preocupen, no les quiero tener hora y media en la sala de espera. Básicamente, luego, otra cosa que les quería decir, Diana Ramírez estará con nosotros en todas las reuniones, estará como observadora, como tomando notas, y eso nos servirá para la última reunión, para la última sesión, para poder como organizar nuestras reflexiones ese día. Ella también nos va a hacer una presentación ese día de lo que ella cree que es como el estado del arte en arte y nuevas tecnologías. Bueno, creo que eso es todo. Cualquier pregunta va a estar en el chat. Cualquier apoyo técnico va a estar yo, o va a estar el Avatar Festival Online de Identidad Digital, que es mi compañera María José, que está haciendo toda la parte técnica. Ahora quería presentarles a Stephanie Maybach, que es directamente mi jefa. Sí, la sé, pero es verdad. Es la directora del Instituto Goethe y quería darles como la bienvenida formal a Matías y a ustedes. Gracias.
Bueno, thank you, Rebecca. I will speak directly in English so Matthias can also understand us. Entonces, bienvenida, herzlich willkommen, and a very warm welcome also from my side. You are part of our online festival, Digital Identity, Identidad Digital, which started on Monday and will be on for 2 weeks. It is a collaboration with our French friends from the Alianza Francesa. And I would like to thank all the people that had helped organizing this festival with great effort. Organizing an online festival here in Venezuela is also something new to us as Institute. So here we find ourselves in the first session of the workshop Bootcamp, Art and New Technologies, Arte y Nuevas Tecnologías. And I'm very happy that we were able to invite 3 international guests: Ana Mosquera from Venezuela, who lives in the United States, Sebastian Quack from Germany, and Mathias Jud from Switzerland. And here with us, like Rebecca said, is also Eliana Ramirez, a very well-known curator that you probably know, and she will help us to understand what these 3 best practices on the international level also mean for us on the local level here in Venezuela. So now my very warm welcome to Matthias. The title of his workshop is Appearing and Disappearing in the Digital, Analyzing Power Structures and Voices in the Internet. Mathias Jud was born in Zurich and lives and works in Berlin. This is also how we got to know each other, Matthias. Since over 20 years, he works together with his partner Christoph Wachter as an artist collective. They have participated in numerous international exhibitions and have been awarded many international prizes. Their artworks include open source projects that uncover forms of censorship in the internet, undermine the concentration of political power, and even resolve the dependency on infrastructure. The tools provided by the artists are used by communities in Asia, Europe, the United States, and the MENA region. Even in North Korea, activists participate. But not everyone is fond of these projects they are organizing because they treat very sensitive issues. So I'm sure Mathias will talk about some more about his work now in his presentation during the workshop, and he will give you also answer what is meant by not everyone is fond of these projects. So I wish you a very fruitful exchange, and I'm very excited to follow within the next 2 hours. Vielen Dank. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. And I now hand over to Mathias.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello then, my name is Mathias. Since over 20 years I work together with Christopher, right now in Berlin, where I live and work in Germany. And so as a first thing, what I would like to do, so I'm planning to do this, this presentation, not as a presentation, but hopefully much more as an interactive workshop. So please feel free to add comments, findings of your own, and also ask questions whenever you think. If you want to ask questions in Spanish, you could use the chat, for example, and they will be translated to me. Unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish. So I would love to do first a quick introductory round to get a bit to know you and know what you're interested in. So if everybody of you could please quickly say their name, their background, what your expectations are from this workshop, and what you use digital tools and technologies for. Now I don't know how to. Yeah, how do we?
I would like to go like from the alphabet. We can start with Alba Izaguirre. Alba, ¿estás ahí? Ok, vamos a seguir con Ana María Aguirre.
Hola, ¿me escuchan?
Sí.
Hola, bueno, my name is Ana María Aguirre Choburio. I'm a writer, creator, audiovisual. And I have a lot of expectations of this bootcamp because I want to learn new technologies.
Thank you. And what are you using them for right now? Are you already using digital technologies?
Can you repeat, please?
Are you already using digital technologies?
Si ya utilizas tecnologías digitales.
No.
Okay.
Bueno, yo hago cine, pero no digital.
Thank you.
Okay, Alba o Andrea, no sé quién. Andrea Méndez.
Sí. Hi, my name is Andrea. I'm originally a psychologist, but right now I am studying fine arts. And I've always tried to keep practice on the side, even when I was studying psychology. I have experimented a bit with arts and technology, I would say, but I think in a quite superficial way. Like I do not know programming or stuff like this, but I do like to use the resources that are out there on the internet to create new work.
Thank you.
Eddie Chacón.
Tengo que hacer esto. ¿Me ven?
Estamos escuchando, sí.
Bueno, okay. My name is Eddie Chacón. I work in Valencia, in Venezuela. Well, in my work, I use technology for different purposes. I have used the technologies to create new spaces for encounters between people in conflict, for example, to create new environments where people can encounter in a space, in a place, in the internet site. And I also use the technology to create new text out of power test. I kind of use technology to modify them and to visualize new speeches, new contents that we cannot see easily in those tests. Then I use the technology to rewrite these texts and unveil new meanings.
Thanks.
Matthias, I have written in chat that all the people that are talking in Spanish, they can send to me in chat the presentations. Just in
This
Spanish.
would be nice.
I will read it afterwards. Here comes Daniel. Tenemos dos Daniel, ya uno me escribió por chat. Daniel Oropesa, ¿podrías hablar o me mandas por chat? Si no, vendría David y Diana, todos por D. Okay. I think all are writing right now.
So maybe, hi, I'm sorry, Rebecca. No, maybe, I don't know if the ones that would like to talk, maybe they just can just pop up. I don't know. What do you think, Rebecca?
Yes, they can raise their hands.
Yeah, and maybe suggest another one so we go a little bit faster.
Okay. Genesis.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, my name is Genesis Alayon. I'm a Venezuelan artist. My work focuses on a look at the changing dynamics of our society. I use the images that are attached to the news since 2018, when the economic crisis in our country was directly reflected in the deterioration of public transport units. At that time, people developed a new species of informal transport called perrera. It was an unstable and mutable structure where as many people as possible were transported. The images I paint reflect these vehicles full of people practically hanging from them. I am here because I'm interested in learning about the way other artists like you use technologies in favor of their work. And in the past, I have not used digital technologies directly to address my work, but that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks to you.
Okay, Arminia.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Arminia Medina. I'm 21 years old and I study plastic art at UNEARTE. I don't have much experience with technology. I study plastic art and mention mixed media, but I would like to learn. I had the opportunity to work with Arduino on a piece together with a friend, and he's studied at telecommunication, engineering telecommunication. I don't know if I say good, but I couldn't learn about programming. So for this reason, I'm here, and thank you so much for that, the opportunity.
Thank you.
I think Raquel Sofer wanted to talk. Raquel, are you there? You were raising your hand.
Yeah, excuse me. Okay, now
Okay.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, what my name is Raquel Sofer. I am a visual artist. I use the technology to do my work, but I feel that maybe you can help us to see in another way our political situation right now. I try all the time not to be evident when I make an artwork, but I think you can your exposition, your presentation can help you.
Thank you.
To show better the political problem we have now in Venezuela.
Thank you, Raquel. Anybody else there than English? If not, I will read the other presentations. I will start with Diana Leal. She's 22 and she is studying art in Caracas. She's interested in performance, and her questions are more in a performatic level. Yeah, she would like to transform this performatic art in video art, maybe. So that's the main goal for her. Maria Elena Núñez, she's using since 95 digital mediums, and she used it more for intervening and create images. Her work is always visual art, and okay, she's working with fragments or fragmenting these images and transforming it to a plastic medium, from image to a plastic medium. I hope I had that good. Here comes Michael Serpa. Michael Serpa is a graphic designer. He's that's my quote. He has all the identity for this festival. designed, and he has a lot of experience with technology and art. He's working mainly with video mapping, and he's always interested in give visibility to communities, like or main favelas or barrios, for example. And he has some expectations, mainly to know better other experience and other tools, open source, for example, that can like give more agency to his work. Now the turn from Luciano Guzman. He's an art student also, and he's working mainly as a graphic designer, and he's as graphic designer he works with Photoshop and Illustrator, for example. And okay, I'm thinking with David Fayola. David works wants to work with new tools, and he works more with comedy or humor. I don't know if he works mainly with graphic design, I think. Okay. Jorman Aguilar, he's a student with on journalism and photographer. He's 23, and I lost. Okay, he's 23, and he's working, or as photographer, he works with the identity and mainly with portraits. So he likes to transform these portraits with digital media, and he wants to expand his vision with this workshop. I think it's the last. Emily Ramirez. She works also with a performance, and like a performance artist, she was like really troubled with the pandemic, because I'm sorry, I think it's she. Sorry, Emily. She has to replan all this work with performance in another way, and maybe with digital medias such as video, and she wants to transform and explore these other options. I think I have like a monologue here, but Maria Eva Rojas, she's Venezuelan, but she lives in Sao Paulo. She's an architect and visual artist, and she's interested in new technologies. Jonathan Lara, he's a visual artist, and in the pandemic, this lockdown, he is like experimented with digital mediums, so mainly with photographs and videos. So he wants to make this workshop as a new opportunity to know these other tools and know or experience new reference. And last but not least is Daniel Oropesa. He's a songwriter, and he works right now with live coding, mainly with audio, and recently he has worked a little bit with Hydra, for visuals mainly. I think that's all. And right now Manu, I think it's Manuel Lara, wants to talk also. And then Jennifer.
All right. Hi, Matthias. How are you?
Hi. Great to have you.
All right. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Well, I am a graphic designer. I'm a graphic artist. I've been illustrating the building out from the city of Caracas about 5 years ago. I have a account in Instagram whose name is Greeting from Caracas, and intentionally is to preserve and reinterpret the memory of my city through the graphic. Well, I'm using for this Illustrator program. Well, the Instagram to the other people see my account, QR to maximize the people who see my drones. Well, because I want to the citizens of Caracas respond to the like a mirror to the illustrator, the illustration, talk about her life, her history. Well, also with the video projection. ¿Se dice así, Rebeca? Video projection. Well,
yeah,
right.
video mapping.
Video mapping, exactly. Thank you, Mathias.
Thank you.
Okay, Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Pimentel. I'm a graphic designer. I live in Venezuela, in Punto Fijo right now. I'm interested in creative coding, mainly as a different way to create images. And I'm learning processing, P5 and JavaScript. I'm also really interested in the technology to create like interactive experience, and I think that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, Ramon wanted to talk also.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ramon Luciani. I am a photographer, and my work investigates the fractality of queer and racial identities, mostly through self-portraits. And I use new technologies mostly as a tool for content curation, but I am excited to engage and find new ways to explore this new path.
Thank you.
Maria Manrique.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm an architect based in Caracas, Venezuela. I create illustrations which dive into the iconic objects and also buildings which are placed in Venezuela. So it's a way to get to society, to know the heritage and the cultural heritage in Venezuela. So I think this is a unique opportunity to, I don't know, explore other techniques and new things about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now Juan Pablo.
Hi, my name is Juan Pablo. I studied at first graphic design. I work on television many years, like broadcasting and mostly graphic designer. But let's say a decade ago, I shifted my focus. Now I studied philosophy, and since last year, I began an artist career. So I guess my work can be classified like digital art. And I obviously work with the computer. Everything I do is with the computer, but even so, it's like a handcraft work, even using computers. So I suppose I just want to have like a more contemporary approach to the tools that I have in my hand. So well, here I am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Has everybody spoken or?
Almost everybody. I have just one more in the chat. That is Victor Gomez. He's an architect. He's 25, and now he's working as graphic designer. And he's working with digital, collage, or like yes, like college. I don't know how to translate it. Have a bridge here, but he's working also with identity and Venezuela identity as a main team. And here is Gabriel. He's from Barinas. He's studying architecture, and currently he's using technology as means to interact with the physical reality, how to register and recreate, and he wants to contemplate other perspectives of the use of new technologies. We have Elisabetta and Zainab, but I will have her like to write on their chat, and we can continue with the dynamic. So Matthias, when you're ready,
yes.
you
So
can...
I will continue, and please read when there is an incoming in the chat. So hi everyone. I quickly would like to say what I'm doing as an artist and my concept of art. I see this is a really diverse, and I think also in how we can use technology is really diverse. I'm especially interested in the power structure in which I embedded in this world, in this life. And my concept of art is the idea that the foundation of art asks two very fundamental questions. The first question is, how can I express myself? And the second question is, how can I perceive this world? And when looking at these two questions in a digital communication society, most of my expression and on how I build my image of the world is through digital tools and through digital networks, through digital connectivity. And so what Christopher and I are doing is looking mainly into how we are embedded in these power structures, how the power structures, what they do allow us, and how it how these power structures in the digital go really deep into what we can say, how we can say it, who has a voice, and so on. So maybe I could quickly start my presentation. A moment, I have prepared. I have three main topics. I hope I can make it through all three topics. If you have something to share, please write it directly into the chat. I hope I can see it if it's in English, and otherwise it will certainly be translated for me. So now you should be able to see my presentation. I see that my chat is gone. Okay, here is my chat. Okay, so where do we appear, and or how is also disappearance managed? In the digital networks, there is a lot about rating, routing, ranking, filtering, and also censorship. So often when talking to people about the internet, the idea is that everything is there, the whole world is connected over this one thing. But this narrative is not true. So what you can see here on this slide is a screenshot from my computer here in Germany, in Berlin, and it's a censored web page of a page which is not here due to copyright infringements. So it's a site where you can watch movies, yeah, from Netflix, from movie theaters, and so on. So this is another page of how internet censorship does look. This is internet censorship, how it looks in kind of the whole world when the US is censoring something. They have taken offline torrents webpage here. They are informing about it. We can see that the address is kickastorrents.com, and as the US has access to the main route of the entire internet domain namespace, they can kind of take down every web page in it or block it. That's a third example how it can look. It's another case. It's also from Germany. It's a left-wing communication, left-wing activist communication website in Germany that has taken down by the Interior Ministry. It's called Links unten in die Media. Maybe you know in die Media as an independent news platform for the entire world. Links unten was part of that, had a bit of different interface, and was very much used by activists in Germany. And there are laws in Germany that you are kind of not allowed to take down press things, but there would be other possibilities. And the Interior Ministry here decided to go around these laws and declare in the media to be an illegal organization and take it down for these reasons. So for me, still a very shocking case here, and the processes are still running in court. One of my own works is called Blacklist. It's a work that looks into the specific access we have to the communication network. Blacklist consists of two parts. First, a machine that is a computer that is connected to the internet in the art space. This is a picture from Kassel, from the Fridericianum. This machine then searches the internet and searches for pictures that are censored and websites that are censored in this very location. If it finds such a picture, it downloads it or tries to download it from another place. It converts it into a drawing and draws it as with a pencil directly in the space. So that's from another museum, how it looks like. The pictures are then hanged onto the walls. So this is now all from Germany. It's about sites about body modification, and this picture here is about the forbidden symbols of the Nazi regime. So it's not a decision on whether this censorship is good or bad. It's the question and taking the freedom of the arts very literally, to open a space to be able to discuss these world of pictures. And the art space and the museum has special laws here in Germany. It has the laws that it is free to show all the pictures. And we are taking this literally, but we are not showing the pictures themselves. So we are making a jump in the medium. We are translating them into images. One can still grasp what it is about, but it's not the censored image. And one can then, over the time, the entire space gets filled with such images, and one can start to discuss the things that we cannot see. Because one of the very basic things about the digital, about the internet, is that we don't know what we cannot see, mostly because also the internet censorship is hidden. If it's not hidden, often the index of it is censored itself. And when we, for example, search for things and so on, it really goes into our language. Censorship has a very long history. This is a picture from the Index Librorum Prohibitorum. It's the index of the Catholic Church of the Vatican that decided which books one can read and cannot read. This index has been dysfunctioned after the Second Concile in 1966. It had about 6,000 books on it that Catholics were not allowed to read, and they had to be banned or burned. Another thing why it's also very interested to work with censored images and censorship in the internet. It's an example from Germany. On the left side, you can see a picture from Goya, from his very famous series of etchings about the horrors of the Spanish Civil War. And on the right side, you can see pictures of the game Manhunt. It's a game from Rockstars. It's from 2003. This game is censored, and the pictures are censored too in Germany. And so the interesting thing was that the etchings of Goya, the Desastres de la Guerra, that he made with the idea to show all the brutality of this war, for that people change and will never use such brutality again. The idea of the German state to censor these images from the game Manhunt are the exact opposite. It's the idea that these pictures are so brutal that they will kind of influence the people who see them in a bad way, in the way that they could reenact those things or become mentally degraded and not emotionally degraded and not react as empathic as one should as a human being to these pictures. So kind of more or less the same picture one could say, and the total opposite discourse. Quickly about technology for those of you who are interested in it, how it does work. Here with a picture that is not censored. So when the machine finds a picture, it runs through an image filter. The image filter tries to detect the edges. Also, it tries to detect the fields of colors and shading, and puts then two different layers on it. One is that it traces the edges by an algorithm I wrote myself, and the other one that it kind of also scratches with different pressure the different color things. So oops. It's part of machine here, the machine at work. This was a very early version. It has been built by very simple tools that I was able to buy from the local building store. It got a bit more enhanced now and is also working better, as it has to work alone for months in museums. So here, one from the first series, some of the images. Okay. So if you have questions, just shoot them at me. What we see here is a picture that Christopher and Christopher is the one on the left side, took in 2008, so a long time ago. And it's in front of the Chinese wall. And we shot this picture because we were very interested in the use of the internet, and especially also in the use of the internet in other places, and to go against this narrative of the worldwide connectivity, or at least to invest in it. What does it even mean? And the most opposite use case of the internet for us at this time was China. Why? Because it had and still has the most technological advanced internet censorship in the world. It was built by mainly US American companies, and now I guess the Chinese are very fit to build it themselves. Unfortunately, it was also the Bootcamp for the international US American companies to be able to censor the entire internet, and has for sure also gone into the knowledge that the NSA has. I just see that I have a question from Genesis about the drawing machine that we made, whether we built the machine ourselves. Yes, we built everything ourselves. So we wrote the software ourselves, and we built also the machine ourselves out of really simple parts. That's kind of how we started, Christopher and I, with the idea that what we do, everybody should be able to do. So we have no technological background in a way. I mean, I worked once before in chemistry, but otherwise Christopher studied art, and we started to work in these projects together, and it was a to not be a specialist. However, over the years, we are doing this now since 20 years, we became, of course, also specialists for some things. So I cannot say that really anymore, that I have no technological knowledge. But kind of you can really read tutorials in the internet and do it yourself. Also, what we do is kind of all open source, mostly published under the GPL, and you can look into the projects further. So back to China. This is a censored web page, or was a censored web page in 2008 in China. It's the Chinese or the English Wikipedia page about democracy, and you see here the standard view of the Internet Explorer at that time that just says in Chinese, hey, I couldn't find this page. So it's a hidden internet censorship. It's not declared what there is. People could just think it's a technological problem. The internet is heavily used in China at that time, mostly in the internet cafes, where also we went to test this internet. So the thing about internet censorship, when it goes really on what you are saying, is, and about word censorship, is that it kind of really influences our language and the possibility to use this language. Here it went about Wikipedia, but a really nice example is this page. It's called Bass Experts. So bass is a fish, is the name of a fish, and experts, it means that this is the experts page for the fishermen and fisherwomen that like to fish and that write about their fishing on this page. And this page got censored in China because the censorship machine found the word sex in the URL. So it's kind of a side effect that can happen with word censorship machines that I guess clearly don't target what this machine was going for. We wrote a little project there and we tested it. It's called Pikide, and it's the possibility to look into the internet from a different place. So what Pikide is doing is that it creates an image from a different place. When you invoke Pikide, you can enter the URL of the page that you would like to see, and then it goes to in this server that you are approaching. So if you're approaching a server from a different country, it looks how it looks at this time, at this place. And if this server is not censored, then you get the screenshot of this web page. So here you see our screenshot from the BBC page, which was also censored in China in 2008. This project was heavily used around the world. It's now undergoing a major rewrite to try to put everything on Docker container and being able to much faster kind of create such servers. It's an open source project. You find the code online. Oh, really nice. Okay, I didn't know I had this in this presentation. So these are the two little icons that you get a lot in the internet in China. They are present on many sites, and they kind of show you that the police is also in the internet and makes the internet for you a safe space, or on the other hand, watches what you are looking at. Yeah, unfortunately, it had some side effects. Our projects with Chinese communities since 2013, Christopher and I are not allowed to enter China anymore. The project has been really widely circulated, though. So from internet censorship, I don't know whether you have more comments on that. Otherwise, I would move forward to the next topic of connectivity. We can also jump back. So.
I have a question. So another way to kind of avoid the censorship would be just using the deep web, no? Something like that?
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point.
Because that is not accessible, I guess, to like mass audience.
There are many different possibilities to circumvent internet censorship. So, and maybe we can sketch up a few of them right now. I'm trying to sketch here, yeah, on my presentation, and we can talk a bit about it. So let's see. How I do that? Okay, here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I can draw. So when we draw internet, kind of mostly we draw just a cloud, so that's kind of the international symbol for the internet, and then we have connections in here. So like little symbols for, oh, that's really hard to do. Little symbols for browsers, for servers. These are usually those kind of Coke bottles, and then we are connected with our computer on the other end. Not a very nice one. Anyway. So, okay, that's our laptop. And we are connected through this cloud. And when we want to look into how we are connected and also where censorship can appear and how we can circumvent it, it's really helpful to look a bit into this cloud and get away from this picture of the cloud and try to draw the internet ourselves. So I will try to quickly sketch an internet for you, and then we can look into how we can get into connectivity. So the core of the internet, oh, it's really hard to draw by mouse. I'm really sorry for that. The core of the internet is the internet backbones. What is the internet backbone? The internet backbones are the intercontinental here yet from Europe, I would say transatlantic cables that are going through the entire world. So in the sea, over land, from one country to the others, and you have a certain places in every country where you can then divide it further, or even several places further to the internet service providers and so on. So the next thing, and every of these boxes here is kind of now symbolically such a major internet switch, and a calculation center which is connected to the internet backbone. To this backbone are then connected the providers, the so-called internet service providers, or ISP. To the internet service providers are then we connected either directly with our mobile phones, oh, okay, or however a bit overly large tablets, with our mobile phones, or if we are in an institution or at home with our Wi-Fi router, anyway, with the router, and then from there we are connected with our computer. So now why did I draw all of that? Just to be able to talk about where are now all the possibilities for internet censorship to check in. Of course, when you are in an organization or even at home with parental control, or in the organization with a special content filter, you can filter the internet. You can kind of say to which addresses you are allowed to go, and you can even look into the content if it's not encrypted and block it, or block certain services. If you are the ISP, of course, too, and even on the backbones. On the backbones, usually as the internet was done, or at least still has this idea that all content should be allowed to flow, there is no censorship as far as I know, except the backbones in China, where it's really already parts are censored on the backbones, but in China also it's censored on the internet service provider, and then it's censored even regionally. So there is a really a complex concept for that. So when you say going around internet censorship, it always depends on what censorship do you target. A lot of the internet censorship is also done via the domain name servers. So I quickly draw such a DNS. The DNS is like the phone book of the internet. It's where kind of your browser goes and looks when you want to go to Wikipedia, for example, which address a certain computer really has. Okay, I see we have some questions about the drawing machine. I will go back to this later and continue here a bit. So when the machine is trying to resolve a web page, it goes to the DNS server. The DNS server sends back then the address, and then it knows to which computer it needs to go. Let's say this is the server where the web page is on it. And important to know is on all machines there can be censorship. And so what people started to do, and I guess this was what you said with the deep web, is making such internet overlay networks, which kind of means a network within the network, which means you have just encrypted connection to other computers, and they have encrypted connections to other computers too. And therewith you put on top of the internet, you put a new network in which you can communicate. That's a very stable form of doing it, as long as this internet overlay network is not blocked itself. Now, we know several networks, such as you most probably know Tor, short for the Onion router. There is Freenet, there is CJDNS, and so on. So there are many of these deep webs, or I call it internet overlay network because it's more clear, in my opinion, what it does. If you like, yeah, okay, Ramon, shoot your question.
Yes, I've got not really a question, but a comment about this topic, that as we might not have a hard censorship of the media in the West, so to say, but now more than ever, our lives are like governed by algorithms. And these algorithms sort of are gatekeepers to content, so to speak. They do filter and route and pick media and information for us. And in cases like, for example, Instagram or Twitter, artists really get shadow banned when their line of work do not go with the perception of the brand of the platform. For example, I know a lot of queer artists who get shadow banned, who get limited access to their audiences just because they share work that's really provocative, incentive of thought. And yeah, that's not a hard censorship, but it is still censorship at the very least.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, that's a really good comment, and it's it goes into the question, what is content moderation, and it also goes into another question, which is, in my opinion, very much problematic from a legal and kind of a democratic point of view, that especially here in Germany, for example, and in Europe, one is trying to give the necessity of filtering content into the hands of those private companies. For example, social networks like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. They are requested here to filter themselves illegal content. So there is no lawful process involved into what you can say or what you cannot say, or what is taken out and what not, because these are this is in the hand of those companies, and most probably they will filter it too much, and then they have their own rules. And we know it's also a question of internationalization. So when you have an American company, they most probably have their own standards about sexuality, nudity, possibilities of what you can say or cannot say, what they will take out. And that's really interesting, especially also internationally. So if you're living in another country, which is not the US, but you are kind of forced to use those huge US companies or their services in order to communicate, you are, of course, part of this realm of rules. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for this comment. I added here kind of an other server where I just kind of dedicated to the big services like Facebook, Google, Instagram. I mean, they are of course running also even their own transatlantic cables, so they are so big. Okay. Maybe it would be really nice to just make a little survey on how you are connected. So if you would take a minute and just write how you are connected. Are you connected over a mobile router? So is via Wi-Fi to your mobile router, and the mobile router is connected over the air to the internet service provider? Are you connected via a DSL modem, via fiber, whatever, and to try to reflect a bit on that. If you know it, then you could quickly write it into the chat, and we have a small view. So I am here connected via TV cable to ISP, and I'm using Ethernet and Wi-Fi in my home. Oh, this was a direct message now to Daniel. Okay, sorry, I tried to write to everyone. Okay, so. Okay, and while you are doing this, I'm trying to get back to the question about the drawing machine. So, yeah, that's the question that I have about the drawing machine is I don't have a clear idea yet who decides what the machine draws. Is it just an algorithm who takes the images randomly? That's a really good question, because the question is what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a little concept, I would say, that you can implement then also into a program that decides certain things. Often when we are talking about decisions by Google or Facebook, then we say it's the algorithm. No, you cannot do anything about it. But the thing is that you need to write this algorithm. Some people, there are always human beings that write this algorithm, and most of the algorithms, they have kind of a list behind them, and then they look into these lists and decide, okay, is this something for me? This can be a word list, this can be so a list of text of words, this can be a list of starting points, a blacklist where you know these are interesting things where you can start, and so on and so forth. So the algorithm in this machine is very complex. It needs to be rewritten for every place where it is, because every country and every region has an own and a different internet censorship. And depending on the internet censorship, the algorithm works. For example, in Switzerland, where I was born, there is a DNS censorship done by the ISPs with a list from the police. And so this is a censorship which is really easy to check. and also easy to circumvent because you just need a different name server. Here in Germany, it's a bit more complex because the Germans don't censor directly, but they tell Google to take out search results, for example. And some are also directly censored, like the page I showed you taken down by Vodafone, which is this movie page, and others are then taken down by the police. So you have kind of a list of police things. More difficult are the things taken out by Google. It was kind of really easy some years before because you could compare with other countries and then say, okay, this is in, this is out. As it becomes much more international, it's much more difficult to decide that. But yeah, there are, for example, here in Germany, there are then the machine compares search results for certain topics with Google pages and looks what was taken out and then tries to make an exact hit. So it then just searches just for the result that is expected to be censored, whether this is really censored, and then you get a little announcement by Google this page was taken out. So yeah, so the algorithm is deciding it, but the algorithm is written by humans, in this case by Christopher and me. And of course, we think about strategies that a machine could follow to find censored content. So I hope this was informative enough. Okay. Phone, Wi-Fi router, DSL router, okay. Laptop, Wi-Fi, IDSL, CAN TV, software like Nmap or Kali Linux to understand the topography of the internet. Really interesting, okay. At home, connected from my computer using Wi-Fi through DSL, okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess I answered this question already. What kind of content is censored in Germany and Switzerland? So in Switzerland, they have a censorship for child pornography. However, it's really badly implemented, and the question legally is a big question: what is pornography and what is a child? So they mostly censor portals from different countries where they think they cannot be sued on, such as Japanese mangas or yeah, such cheap Yahoo groups. So that's Switzerland. Germany has an own entity which is called it's for Jugendmedienschutz, and so it's for the protection of the youth. And they take out violence, they take out self-harm, they take out many things that go into this direction. Then the other thing is, of course, a really unlawful thing here in Germany. So everything which is related to depict a Nazi Germany, if it's not in a historical context. So that's, I would say, the main region in Germany. Okay, from my phone. And here I have a complex question. Okay, quickly, thanks a lot for this overview. I see that most people are connected to ISPs via a cable, and there was one question about Kali Linux, and I'm trying to search it. Yeah, and Nmap. Maybe we can quickly make a little example to try to show what we could do. I'm sharing now a different window from my computer. Moment. I'm sharing a terminal. So the Kali Linux is flavor of the Linux operating system, which is already pre-built with all many security tools, so you can break into computers with it. You can test the network, you can run security checks and so on. So I'm here on a Macintosh, as you can see. This is my Macintosh terminal, so I can write here kind of commands. I will write a command here, which is called traceroute. So a command is invoked when I just write the name of the program. Here the name and the program and an address. I'm taking a name server by Google because it's so easily to remember. And when I press now enter, what this program traceroute is doing. So I'm now not using Nmap, but we can kind of also see the network then. This program is sending pings to all the machines that are between me and this server from Google. And so we can see the exact path, or will become an idea of the path. We get an idea of the path that we will take when accessing this page. Okay, I pressed enter. We can now see how it runs through. It tests every step 3 times. So we could also have different results, because every package in the internet decides for each package where it will go. So the package don't need to take exactly the same way each time. Hopefully they do. It would make our life easier. No, they don't. Okay, we see now here we can see first. I'm here in a local network, now connected to my router. It first goes to my router. So all the IPv4 addresses that start with 192 are private addresses. Then it goes to my internet service provider, which is Kabel Deutschland. So, and then it goes from there to another machine. They apparently have 2 machines with 2 different addresses for the third step. And then the fourth step also has 2 machines, as we can see. Unfortunately, we don't know now the name of these. We could try and find it I don't know. With another command, whether we get anything. Okay, no, we don't really get something. If they have names, they will write it to us. This now does not have a name, it's just the address. So okay, and then we are getting to this machine. I was hoping we have more names, and we could now enter this also into some web services and try to locate the machines on the globe. And finally, we are at dns.google, and we arrived after 8 steps, so or 9 steps. So our package had to take 9 machines until it was at the end. And of course, each of these machines can make decisions to block it, to drop it, to slow your speed down, to control it, whatever. Okay, so this was my quick reaction or answer to this question. I stop screen sharing here. And okay, that's a cool one. I'm stealing someone's Wi-Fi signal. That's really cool. I would love to do that too. So there is another question. In your opinion, we use technology we use technology, or we are little cells of this big algorithmic brain, what is being built for the big tech corporation as a puppet. Oh, that's a really nice one. And it kind of leads me to my next slideshow. I will put that on. So, oops, okay. So, yeah. So when we are censored, and here we have some other examples of political takedowns, or especially the idea of political takedowns. That's an example from London in the United Kingdom in 2011. They had huge riots, and David Cameron, who was the prime minister at that time, wanted to take down all the social media. And he also, at this time, people were still using BlackBerry. It's a very, very old and now defunct mobile phone operating system that had an encrypted chat, and he wanted to ask for the private key of BlackBerry to be able to decrypt what was going on. So another thing is an example from Egypt, where unfortunately also many of our projects that look into internet censorship, that circumvent internet censorship, are blocked by the state. And so Egypt also made in 2018, this was the Sisi government, so the military government that kind of pushed against the government of the Islamic Brotherhood, which was a democratically elected government. And they put in a much more bigger internet censorship, and they started also to target the people using social media, trying to unblock their accounts, and then also kind of get and arrest people. So that's kind of, with social media for activists, it's always a bit the question, who is your enemy? In countries such as Tunisia, where the government has no access to Google, Facebook, and so on, this is kind of safe and in a way encrypted to use. In other countries such as Egypt, that cooperates much better with those big US companies, they are not really your friend, and you're not safe there. So one of our projects, or our projects, try and to play with our agency that we have in this digital space. So to play with the agency always means two things. We kind of need to think of a situation and analyze a situation where we are undergoing a certain power structure, and then to find a project on how to kind of play with this power structure, and maybe even make it new. One example. Oh, okay. So media history, how the internet started. Okay, I will make this very short. It started as the ARPANET. There were just these 4 computers in 1969. Then here you can see how it developed from 1969, 1970, 1972, 1977. This was just a US network, but it already then expanded. It started at some universities, UCLA, UC San Diego, and so on, and then expanded to other universities across the country. It was a defense project with the idea to have a possibility to defend the United States when there is a nuke coming from the Soviet Union. However, it then became very quickly privatized. And this privatized internet we still have today. So it's not a public network, it's a private commercial network. The commercial network is built on open standards. And there is this idea of openness. It's also not governed by a body which is international, so such as the International Telecommunication Organization. There are countries pushing for that, such as China and Russia, to take it out of the hands of the US. It's governed by an independent body. Well, independent, but its headquarters is in California. The US put it there due to the very good copyright infringement laws that they have there due to the movie industry. So this was an economic decision, and of course they still want to have access to this body, although it is now claimed to be free of any US interaction. But I guess in reality, this is not the case. So I talked a bit about DNS. I would like to very quickly show a project which is called New Nations, where we looked into the power structures of the internet domain namespace. The first domain, so the domain is the name that you put in, and then you have the so-called top-level domains. These are the 3 letters or 4 or 5 letters or 2 letters at the end. The first letters were .com, .edu, .mil, .gov. These were all US domains. So when you are invoking them, you are under US law, and the names are given by US laws. And to make other countries participate in this network, they decided to create new law spaces by so-called country code top-level domains. These are the 2-letter domains. So every 2-letter domain is a country code, and you see here the domain for Switzerland, CH for Germany, where I'm right now, and it's a bit European. So all the 2-letter codes that were given away, they are under the jurisdiction of the country. So when you are under the Venezuelan domain, it's the Venezuelan country who can decide who gets it, how much does it cost, and what is the law that is there. And yeah, with our project New Nations, we took this this kind of very bilateral thing. So it's not an international thing, it's a bilateral thing. It was a bilateral thing between the United States or ICANN and the country. So there is no supranational body. So for communities that don't have the right to an own country, or maybe also regarded as terrorists, for example, in their own country, such as the Tibetans, they have no way in this speech and in this cultural space also that opens there in this top-level domain. So we started with New Nations. We started together with the Tibetans own new country code top-level domains. For the Tibetans, it's .ti. For the this is Sangon Lama, Tibetan woman. For the Uyghurs, it's .uu. For the Kurds, .ku. For the Tamils, it's .te. And there are some other groups that also want such domains. Of course, those domains are not supported by ICANN. They are kind of privatized, but we are very well supported. And there is an ICANN independent domain network, which is called OpenNIC, that runs several hundred servers around the world to have a fully standard compliant ICANN alternative, and we are supported by these networks. And so when you configure your computer towards these name servers, you can serve these domains. It's a cultural investigation in what is there if you don't have to fight for that anymore. What are the things that are then set up? For example, the Tibetan Wikipedia was one of it, or the Tibetan Olympics sports team, of course, Dalai Lama. And here is the entire list of country code top-level domains and our domains that we created for this project. All the domains are organized by the communities. They are hosted for free on our web servers. Yeah, I have another question here from Osh or Auge. What happens with geographic restrictions? For example, in Venezuela, you need to have an IP address located in Venezuela to access your account. Could you specify for the bank? Yeah, that's another form of how to restrict access by geolocating it. Geolocating takes the IP address of the person accessing a page and then looks up where this IP is originated from. This is something that you can circumvent, for example, with virtual private networks, with internet overlay networks, that you kind of take these, that you first access a different machine, and then from this machine you then access the other machines. It does not make it more secure, but you are then able to see different things, and it's one of the things that we also are looking into with Piggy, where you access kind of the internet from a different machine. So yeah, geographic restrictions, it's a bit, it's done a lot. It's done increasingly. It's also done for copyright, for restrictions on what you can see there. And it's a really difficult thing, especially internationally, that you are not able to see in the whole world the entire thing. I don't think it has really a security impact or something. If there are no questions about new nations, I would kind of run to the next project. Okay, so very quickly, I see that my time is running up soon. Very quickly, CallNet is an internet independent Wi-Fi communication network. So it looks into how we are connected. So when we are connected, we are usually connected, and we saw this also in the survey. So you are connected to your internet service provider, the internet service provider is connected to the backbone, or you are connected with your mobile phone directly to the mobile service provider. What we try to do is to play with this and to create another form of internet connectivity. By taking this Wi-Fi with a special mode. It's called ad hoc mode. This mode is defunct nowadays. We are working on new solutions at the moment. And to create a so-called mesh network. So to make a peer-to-peer network, which is independent of the internet. So that you can circumvent this problem that when you are two kind of want to write each other a message and you are sitting next to each other, if there is no internet, you usually cannot do that. No, you can write a message and put it onto a USB stick or something, and otherwise it gets really ugly and really complicated. But our Wi-Fi devices and our devices in general are able to interconnect with each other without any problem. And with CallNet, we try to make this a reality. It will always be hacky and messy and everything, but we try to make this a reality. So we wrote a nice UI over which you can chat. There are voice calls, there is file sharing in it, and you can directly interconnect your cell phone with another phone without having the necessity of a SIM card or of a mobile service provider. So these were the phones. I guess this we started in 2011, and I guess this was in around 2012 when all phones still supported this mode. Right now we are writing it new for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi Direct and all this Wi-Fi Aware and all these new Wi-Fi peer-to-peer modes that came up, but are a bit a hacky solution, unfortunately. And also you can expand your network because CallNet is also sharing its own source code, and you can download kind of the app from another computer, so you can kind of spread a network from this very machine. Here a nice drawing about it. So to quickly look into the technology of it, it goes over Wi-Fi. And one of the question, yeah, AddWrap is a cool tool. I read here in the comment section, but it's unfortunately restricted to just one vendor. So everybody needs to have then an Apple device. And what is really missing is a good interface communication possibility over all the different restrictions of operating systems and vendors. Yeah, Content is going over Wi-Fi. So one thing that is of course a limit is the length of a Wi-Fi signal. Wi-Fi signal in the air can go about 250 meters. That's a protocol limit. You can more or less reach that with your cell phone and with your laptop device without any additional thing. If you want to go further, you need to build a special antenna, and you also need to tweak a little bit the Wi-Fi protocol for that you are able to do that. In Linux and other open source systems, you can easily do that. We made a first test in the South Chinese Seas together with our friends there, from the land to a little island. So this was our station on the ground. This was the island where the signal was pointed to. It's about 3.5 kilometers. We made it with this Wi-Fi sticks, and we were able to communicate over this thing with really simply built can antennas that we built out of simple food cans. These can antennas, they are specific for the 2.0 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So if you want to go with 5 gigahertz, you would need to build much smaller antennas, and they are really easy to build. You will find many possibilities in the internet. Okay. Another use case for CallNet was in France, in Paris. This is an informal settlement in Paris. It's a settlement from Romani people. It's the mostly racially targeted and minoritized group in Europe. They also don't have an own country. They are kind of in the entire Europe a minority. This was an informal settlement by them, and we have been for several years in Paris for always a few months. You see here on the right side a cultural building, and we created a mesh network within Paris, which is also serving then as a community network with informal settlements. Why informal settlements? It was not possible at the time due to anti-terrorist and anti-copyright infringement laws, which were called Hadopi and Lopsy in France, to get a SIM card even if you don't have an address. If you're living in an informal settlement, you don't have an address, you usually then don't have a bank account, and so you cannot make the proper registration for a SIM card. So some impressions there. The project always comes with workshops, and of course Wi-Fi is blocked by buildings, by trees, and so on. So you often need to build high mats to be able to go over that. Well, yeah, how do we choose the communities? Usually they choose us. Actually, we get contacted by many communities. With the Romani community, for example, we are working since over 10 years. Some of the families there became our friends, and especially in Paris, we made several projects together with the communities now, also here in Germany, and we are often traveling together. With the Tibetans, we had an exhibition together and got in contact over the project that we did with Piggydead to circumvent the internet censorship, and they contacted us, and it was there where it starts. So it's usually that we get contacted and then start together projects. A different example is the flooding that was in Brazil. in 2014, where we have been kind of informed that they apparently also use our software. As the project are all open source, the communities can also just do it themselves. They don't need to ask us. We usually get asked, especially if there are problems, and are then in contact. Otherwise, everybody can take it and can also make their own changes and so on. And especially about community wireless networks, there are really, really good communities that totally independent of us, but also friends of us, like Altamundi and so on, LibreMesh, that are in South America, in Argentina, and in Mexico, that do really, really great, and I think also unique in this world community mesh networks that serve entire communities and connect them with internet. So if you want to Google their project, I highly recommend that. Okay, I will skip that. So now, okay, now we have 10 minutes left for the last for the last topic, which is surveillance, and looking into surveillance. Here are some examples from Germany again. For example, the police here, and also the Verfassungsschutz. They are looking very much into the data generated by mobile phones to locate people. And this has also legal effects by people. For example, in Dresden, there is every year a huge Nazi parade, and there is a left-wing opposition to that usually gets then denied the right to demonstrate at the same day to block the Nazis. And in 2010, I guess it was, when they looked into over 100,000 profiles of movement from the mobile carriers, and then kind of accused many German citizens who wanted to block the Nazis, and also gave them legal prosecution. Another thing from Germany too was the first German who died by a US drone was Benjamin Erdogan. He died on the 4th of October in 2010 in Pakistan. He was located due to his cell phone. And the really shocking thing about that is that there cannot really be an other way than that the German government and the German state gave away his cell phone numbers to the US military in order to locate him. So a really tragic death, in my view. Another example is from Turkey, where we have been invited in 2014 before the municipal elections by a huge movement of several million of Turkish citizens who were afraid of election rigging. And what they were doing is they were having volunteers that looked over the elections in Turkey. And what they were really afraid of was that the electricity will get cut off, and especially that the communication services will be cut off. And so we started in many workshops to build the foundations of a mesh network in Turkey, and especially in Istanbul. And yes, there were some cuts during the day. Yeah, unfortunately, the political situation has been changed a lot since then in Turkey too. Yeah. Okay. I see. I get a question about Telegram groups and how safe it is about communicating in Telegram, and that there are some Telegram groups in Berlin over which you can apparently buy and order some illegal drugs. And so in the last month there were media reports that the police was able to look into Telegram groups. The problem with Telegram and also with Signal is that they started to change that now, but especially I guess until about half a year ago or so, you needed to have a cell phone number in order to be able to have a Signal account. I guess Telegram changed it already a bit beforehand. You just needed to have an email address. And what usually the police is looking for is then to try to find out the email address and or the cell phone number, and then find the person who really communicated with it. The other problem is, of course, also if you have a larger group, you have a larger group, you have more people, you may also have the police in it. And I don't know exactly how they did it in the last case. As far as I know, the cryptography, the end-to-end cryptography within Telegram and within Signal is safe and cannot be broken yet by police. It's of course more difficult as in Germany the police also has the right in certain events to target your cell phone, to hack it, and to install software on it. So if this is the case, of course, you can use whatever you like. You are not protected from any state view anymore. Yeah, so here I have some things about with the Turkish activists. We also built a special thing for the Gezi Park uprising, which is a completely independent and electrically independent communication station, Wi-Fi mesh network station, built out of really simple things such as a Raspberry Pi that you may know, and really small Wi-Fi routers that we have here, and the battery pack. I would like to show also for Stephanie a last project in the last 5 minutes. It's a project that we did also together with Stephanie on her invitation in the Swiss Embassy in Berlin. The Swiss Embassy in Berlin is really special because it's in the center of the government district in Berlin. And right next to it is the Federal Chancellery. So no one is closer to Chancellor Merkel than the Swiss diplomats. The Swiss flag is also the first thing you see when you get out of the Berlin train station. So right next to all of that is also the German Parliament, the Reichstag, and the Brandenburg Gate. And next to the Brandenburg Gate is then the US Embassy and the British Embassy. And as we heard from the news, apparently there were some surveillance from the US Embassy and the British. So the GCHQ, the British Surveillance Service, they put their antenna into a dome on their embassy, and the US Embassy, they had some fake walls behind which they have hidden their antennas to spy on the entire government district. Even Angela Merkel's handy was spied on it. So our suggestion to the Swiss Embassy was a very simple thing. We suggested to put some antennas on their rooftop too, but they were not as sophisticated as the antennas by the US and by the British. They were makeshift CAN antennas, and they were not camouflaged. They were open and easily to see for everyone. So here, this is right next behind this is the German Chancellery, me installing the antennas. And the antennas, they spawned an own network over which everyone with a mobile device was able to participate and communicate freely in the entire government district. So when we started and announced this project, the president of the Academy of the Arts called us and said, "Hey, I want to be part of that." And the cool thing about the building of the Academy of the Arts is that it is exactly in between the US Embassy and the British Embassy. And so we built another huge antenna on their rooftop, and with a clear view to both secret services. And we have never building up an art installation under more surveillance than we did there, because there was a helicopter circling over our heads with a pivoting camera registering each and every move we made. And there were also patrols constantly patrolling on the US Embassy side. So this is the view from this antenna over the government district, with the Reichstag here and the Brandenburg Gate over there. So yeah, the entire network was open, and everybody was free and open to communicate in it. And people started to communicate. So there were over 15,000 messages that were sent during this installation. And so here are some examples. Hello world, hello Berlin, hello NSA, hello GCHQ. This is the NSA's Achilles heel, open networks. Can you hear me? Please respond. This is the NSA. In God we trust, all others we track. At NSA, do you feel bored from our stupid messages? Agents, what twisted story do you tell your grandchildren? How to teach a robot voting for a revolution. At NSA, my neighbors are noisy. Please send a drone strike. Anonymous is watching. NSA, GCHQ, we are part of the organizations. Expect us, we will shut down. So there were even more, much longer conversation that went over several messages, and people got very invented. And other special thing about the German government district is that although Germany is a democracy, you are restricted from certain rights in the government district. For example, you are restricted from the right to protest. It's a no protest zone. And although there are those restrictions, there is no restrictions for digital communication. So our installation was totally legal, and even Angela Merkel got informed about it. Of course, we invited everyone. We also invited the US Embassy and the UK Embassy and the German Parliament too. And the really interesting thing is that after a certain while, they started to appear also files that were leaked from restricted parliamentarian groups investigating the secret services and looking into the scandals that were at that time in Germany. So even parliamentarians apparently need the right to freely speak their mind and have a free and open communication possibilities. It was also picked up by many newspapers and blogs around the world. So yeah. Oh, okay. I guess I finished in time. If you have further questions, I would be here. Again, this was kind of my presentation and my workshop. I hope it was somehow useful for you. And yeah, please write further questions. And it was nice to do that. Oh, I see. I have a question by Iliana, whether the German government is tracing anyhow the movement of illegal immigrants, and if the surveying project works on immigrant communications. Yes, there is special surveillance about especially so-called illegal migration. So the German state has the right, or yeah, the people on the borders, border patrol has the right to get the cell phones and analyze the cell phones of migrants, which is very problematic. So they take all the information they have there, and they try already to make kind of a case then of the people that are coming in. It's especially problematic for those seeking asylum when they have links or things on their cell phone that would not work in favor from there. From Osh, how do they make this hack is legal? So you mean if it's legal to hack a mobile phone by the German border patrol? Was this your question? Because hacking a device is not legal in Germany, but it got legalized for some state. For some state entities, unfortunately, but it's still, I would say, a huge contradiction, because on one hand you are responsible for the things that you have on your device. On the other hand, it can get hacked by the state. So if it can get hacked and you can install files on it, how can you be responsible? And you really need to trust the state there a lot. Unfortunately, it's still and yeah, but I don't know whether there are law cases pending for that reason, actually. Okay, so thank you all very much, and hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matthias. Thank you very much to all the participants. And we will see each other this afternoon. And as Rebecca said, we will continue at 5:30 with the next workshop. And please be there a couple minutes earlier so we can do the technical check. Thank you very much.
Sorry, there are two questions more, I think, in the chat.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
And I
So I
think
missed
one
them.
of
Sorry.
them is,
yeah.
It's really good. Which open source tools would you recommend? And there's a way to prevent this, how to encrypt the content.
Oh, okay. Yeah, these are tough ones. It depends on what you want to do. There are really, really good tools. And it depends always on what do you want to protect from whom. Is it your partner? Is it your mother? Is it your neighbor? Is it the state? And then which state? No, and with which states is your state then collaborating? So I guess with security and encryption, it's always a bit the problem that you need to have a simple solution, because otherwise it's really difficult to communicate with people, and people stop doing it. So I guess most crypto messengers that you have nowadays, they do a really great job, such as Signal and Telegram. A special project that I'm partially involved and very happy about it is Delta Chat. Delta Chat is a decentralized, secure messenger in which you can use an email address in order to chat with other people. It is kind of chat over the IMAP program, so the email program. This has, I think it's technically really nice because email is kind of one of the only decentralized communication systems that is already exists. Google tries to centralize it, but otherwise it's, there are still many name servers, many email servers in this world that are kind of run by different people and that are controlled by the communities. And so you can communicate over these servers. You already have a decentralized thing, and what Delta Chat does, it puts a really strong encryption on top of it, and I think it's a really promising, totally open source and really great project, which is also on the mobile devices. I can only recommend it.
Yeah, so Iliana was asking, maybe you can type it down, or maybe you have a list that we could share with the participants later. Maybe you could send that to me via email or
yeah, I can think about some tools and can send you a list, of course.
Great. So we will share it with everyone then.
Perfect. I would like to ask one more thing. Can we do like a group photo? So everybody can just take or make the camera on and just smile, and Maria Jose will do the photo thing. María José, ¿nos puedes decir tipo 1, 2, 3 o algo así?
Ok, sí. Bueno, faltan más personas porque enciendo la cámara para que quede perfecto. Y ya va. Ya les digo. Ok, sonrían. Hagan, ay, qué bien que colocaron el background. Bien.
Smile.
Smile.
Smile. Perfecto. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And only share these pictures in secure chats.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mathias.
Thank you, bye.
Que nos vemos a las 5:30 para aquellos que todavía no se han ido.
Vale,
Chao.
gracias Rebeca, chao.
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 Gracias. Chao.
Gracias, nos vemos al rato.